Jiminy Crickets.
Jiminy Cricket is the name. I'm a happy-go-lucky fellow, always getting in wrong for singing my song. A merry old soul am I. Jiminy Cricket is the name. I'll be hanging around this evening. I'll be tipping my hat and telling you that Jiminy Cricket is the name.
Hello, Cricketeers. We're back, finally. We didn't have an episode last month because, why didn't we have an episode? Oh,
life.
The little thing called life happened.
Yes.
What was last month? May?
May? Yeah.
May.
I can't even remember.
So we're here in June, and I'm here with Ruthie. Hello, Ruthie.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Cricketeers.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, everybody. I'm feeling ecstatic.
So the reason we have Brian on is because he's the only one of us who celebrates this holiday. Because he's the only father
Well,
among
we
the
missed
three of
Mother's
us.
Day, so let's not leave out Ruthie.
So we just want to, as we always do on these shows, wish you a happy whatever is happening this month. So
Yes.
have a happy Father's Day. And, of course,
yeah.
coming up in a couple weeks.
I'm celebrating 12 consecutive days of 100 plus temperatures. So,
Which is not going to stop anytime soon.
yeah, it just says triple digits for all of June. Yay!
Well, it's
Yay,
nice.
Texas.
It's beautiful here. I have my window open. It's sunny, breezy, no clouds. All the leaves are in bloom because, no more empty trees. It couldn't be more beautiful out. The only thing that's wrong with my view is I'm looking at Providence.
You still see that Little Caesars outside of your window?
Yes. Telephone wires everywhere and graffiti on the wall. Yeah, it's beautiful. So before we get to our episode, which we sort of have a special episode, I don't want to give any spoilers out yet, but it's all sort of ties into the same idea. Just want to remind everybody that all of our activities here on the worldwide interwebs requires something you may have heard of, all you capitalistic pigs out there, called money. And I'm only kidding. I support capitalism.
Yeah, and this is how you do it.
Yes, and if you support capitalism, please, and even if you don't support capitalism, we do accept contributions from socialists. Please send your money to me. Well, let me rephrase that. Hold on. I lost sense of what I was saying. Don't send us money. Send us your contributions because you appreciate what we do. And only send it if you appreciate what we do. Is that better? So,
Yes.
the things we do for you for free do cost us money. And if you would like to help contribute to that, in turn, we will send you special rewards. For as little as $1 a month, you will get rewards, including the songs that I post on my website each day of the year, and special commentary videos and a special podcast just for our Patreon subscribers. So to do that, you need to go to this URL, patreon.com/DisneyChris. And anything that you can contribute is more than appreciated, from $1 to $100. Please don't send $100. That's too much. But yeah. So anyway, we do have another way that you can help contribute, and that is stickers, t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, beach towels, shower curtains, what else? Hoodies, baby
Mugs.
onesies, mugs. We just said mugs.
Bumper stickers.
Multiple types
Water
of mugs.
bottles, coffee cups, fancy coffee, the tall ones.
Yeah,
Red
like
But
stickers.
anyways,
travel mugs.
Electric guitars,
Yeah.
laptop computers. No, those are stickers. So anyway, this is our online store, and we have two different emblems that you can emblazon. That's a word I stole from Brian. And every time I steal a word from Brian, you hear that bell. So,
Yeah. That's your warning.
That'll go off a lot then.
no, that's my phone. He's the first one to use that terminology, but I like it, so I use it. But yeah, we'll have it put on your anything that you would like to order. If you don't find it on our page, then let us know, because there are additional items that we can add. Also, the t-shirts are available in all sorts of different colors, not just white. And also women's styles, V-neck, crew neck, children's sizes, and even, like I said before, they come in onesies for babies. So just let us know if there's something that you'd like to have our logo printed on, and we can add it, because there's a bunch of items we didn't put up yet, and we can always add them. And all of the proceeds from these purchases, again, go to help support our worldwide web endeavors. And to get to that site, it's jcpodcast.threadless.com. So now that we've done our shameless plugs, are you all ready to move on?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do it.
Before that, we have another, well, I wouldn't call it shameless. We're very proud of this. We have a very special announcement. Dateline Jiminy Crickets proudly endorses Concierge Vacation Planners, a Disney-authorized specialty vacation planning service. Concierge doesn't just book your trip, they walk you through the entire process, helping you plan out every detail, one-on-one, to make the very most out of your vacation while saving you both time and money. And the best part is, they charge nothing for their services. You will get the exact same pricing as if you booked your vacation directly through Disney. But in using Concierge expertise, you've got the added bonus of having your very own personal Disney Guru planner by your side. Both Ruthie and I are also satisfied customers, and we just can't recommend them enough. Visit their website at www.concierge.com. That's www.concierge.com, as in mouse ears. So when you book your next Disney vacation, be it Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Cruise Line, or many of the other Disney destinations available worldwide, contact Concierge Vacation Planners, and be sure to tell them Disney Chris sent you. So, we have to do this again, unfortunately.
Yep.
We lost, between the last time we did this and today, 4 people that are affiliated with the Disney Company in one way or another. Some more than others, some more recent than others. Some of them are more known for things they did outside Disney, but they're also important for their contributions to Disney. And the first one we're going to talk about is character actress Estelle Harris, born 1922. And her Disney Probably the biggest thing she did for Disney. But she did more than one thing. But she did the voice of Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story series of films. And she did it all for everything. The made-for-TV specials. Anytime Mrs. Potato Head appeared, she did her voice. So she passed away on April 2nd. She lived a long life. She was 93. Born in New York City and raised in a coal mining town in Pennsylvania. And she had 3 children when she moved back to New York as an adult. She began acting in regional theaters, summer stock, which is like kind of off Broadway out in the country, and like in the Hamptons and in the mountains. What do you call those mountains on the other side of New York?
Catskills? Appalachians?
The Catskills.
Yep.
Appalachians are further south. That's where Ruthie is. And so
I'm not in the mountains. Let me just clarify.
You're close.
On the
You're
beach.
closer to them than
Yes.
we are. I'm close to the Catskills. So she found success on Madison Avenue, which is modeling back in the day, and she was on television commercials, and she was on as many as 25 TV commercials in a single year back in the early days of TV, earning her the nickname the Queen of Commercials. Talk about capitalism. Of course, we all know and love her for her role on Seinfeld, which Brian has never seen. Which I found out the other day because I sent him a Seinfeld meme and he had no idea what I was talking about.
Nope, no idea.
She was George Costanza's mother, Estelle, a recurring, like a recurring role, not on every show, but on many episodes, whenever George's mother was involved. And she was terrific on that. She's just so funny.
Hilarious.
She has a very high-pitched, very New Yorkish, very ethnic-sounding voice. Just very, very colorful voice.
Mm-hmm.
She did a lot of roles on, various dramas and sitcoms over the years. Just one-off performances. For example, Law and Order, Night Court, Living Single. Oh my gosh, forgot about that one. ER and Mad About You. I used to watch that, Living Single. I loved that show. I love Tootie. Anything Tootie's in, sign me up.
Kim Fields.
Kim Fields.
Oh,
Yes.
from Facts of Life. Okay.
Oh, I always liked her. Okay. For Disney, she's best known, like we said, as the voice of Mrs. Potato Head. And Toy Story 4 was her last appearance as that character before her passing. But had she lived, I'm sure she would have gone on to do more as Mrs. Potato Head. I think she's the only one who ever did that role, no matter what it was like, if it was in the parks or whatever, it was always her. She also, a few other Disney things she did. She voiced Lula in Dove the Barbarian.
It's Dave.
Dave the Barbarian.
Yeah.
I want to meet Dove
I don't
the
know.
Barbarian.
I don't know what that is, Ruthie. Ruthie took
I'm not
these
really
notes.
sure either. I think it's just some animated show that was probably on the Disney Channel at one point.
She was
I've
Mrs.
never heard of it, but there's an idea for a new show, though. Dove the Barbarian.
Like a dove, like with a bandana, like a headband, and an eye patch.
That reminds me of, so it's going to look like Rambo?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what I think of, like Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
So she was Mrs. Turtle on the Mickey Mouse Works animated series. I don't know if that was harkening, because a lot of the characters on there were characters from earlier things. They would make cameo appearances, and they were. I don't remember a Mrs. Turtle from earlier animated things, but
Maybe on like a Silly Symphony or something.
maybe. She played the old lady bear in Brother Bear, and the role of Audrey in Home on the Range. I'm not sure who Audrey was.
That's my favorite right there.
Are there any Home on the Range
She's
fans
like
out
she
there?
was a red hen running around.
Oh.
I've
That
seen
makes
Home on the
sense.
Range as much as you guys have seen Seinfeld. 'Cause that's like way up there for me.
She was Mama Gunda in Tarzan 2. What animal was that? Was that an ape character or an elephant?
sure.
I don't know. And Helga in The Proud Family, which just came back. I guess she's not going to be Helga now.
No, I don't. They probably didn't have that character on the revised version of that show.
She also, some more Disney stuff for the Disney Channel. She had a recurring role as Muriel in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. No, I did not steal that word.
Yeah.
Muriel is not a word I stole from Brian. That was just my phone going off. My phone went off again. So, that was the one with the two twin brothers that lived in a hotel.
Yep.
And they got into crazy hijinks.
This was the live action role, so.
Yeah, it was a Disney Channel sitcom from the 90s or early 2000s.
It has to be 2000s.
Early, yeah, about probably 15 years or so ago. And she portrayed Grace Gallagher in Sunny with a Chance.
That's another Disney Channel show starring Demi Lovato.
Yeah, I've heard of it. She also voiced Peg Leg Peg, which is sort of a spin-off of Peg Leg Pete in Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Cacophony.
I think it's Cacophony.
Yep. In Hercules, the animated series, which is obviously like some ancient Grecian goddess figure or something. That wasn't in the film, but they probably had an episode that had to do with her. Mrs. Lipsky in Kim Possible, Mrs. Mudka in The Emperor's New School.
I love that one.
And the older Pim Diffie in Phil of the Future. And provided additional voices for Aladdin the series. So if you're a Disney Channel buff, you know her voice.
Yeah.
And you know her
saw
face.
her or you heard her.
Yes. So, thanks for the memories, Estelle Harris. And now, on to the next loss. And that would be Gilbert Gottfried. And Gilbert Gottfried was only 67. And he had been out of the public eye for some time because he was battling muscular dystrophy and was no longer able to be active in his final years. And he died quite young. So what this quote, Ruthie, who's this attributed to?
I believe it's his family. Like, I think this is like the Twitter, Facebook quote that they released.
You want to read
people
that?
Know that he passed. Yeah. We are heartbroken to announce the passing of our beloved Gilbert Gottfried after a long illness. In addition to being the most iconic voice in comedy, Gilbert was a wonderful husband, brother, friend, and father to his two young children. Although today is a sad day for all of us, please keep laughing as loud as possible in Gilbert's honor. His family wrote on Twitter. That's where it's from.
Okay, so when they say iconic voice, they don't mean that, they mean that literally.
Yes.
because his voice was just so, like, nobody had a voice like Gilbert Gottfried. When you heard that voice, you knew it was him. Nobody sounded like that but him. And it was just him saying something was funny. So obviously he was destined to be a comedian. He was born in 1955, and he was only 15 when he started doing stand-up, and I have a feeling it's because of that voice. He was pushed into that area because everyone just thought he was hysterical. So really his big break came in 1980 when he was on a 12-episode stint on Saturday Night Live during season 6. Now this is sort of a infamous period for Saturday Night Live. This was the season after the original cast all left. You know, Gilda Radner and Bill Murray and Belushi and all them left. So this was all a brand new cast, and they had big shoes to fill. So really the only thing that most people consider good that came out of that season would be Eddie Murphy. Gilbert Gottfried sort of went under the radar because of all the other sort of things people were displeased with that season, going from comedy gold to comedy tin.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. I watched a lot of those reruns on Comedy Central. I can't even recall a sketch that Gilbert Gottfried was in.
He was only on 12 episodes. So that was really his big break, where he became a national figure. And it did, even though that didn't it did lead to other things. One thing that it led to was his frequent appearances on the Howard Stern Show, which is where his fame kind of garnered more notoriety through those appearances. And I've seen some of those interviews. And he did a lot of funny impersonations. Like, he did an impersonation of Groucho Marx, but it was Groucho Marx as an old dying man. Like, when he was old, and he would appear on talk shows when he was, like, you know, slow and kind of senile. He would do that, and it was really funny. And he would do Bela Lugosi and Andrew Dice Clay. And then probably the first time I noticed him as a kid, because those things I found out about later in reruns and whatnot, but Problem Child was probably the first time that I noticed who he was as a kid. That was a movie with John Ritter and this little red-headed boy who was just like a terror. And there were two movies. There was Problem Child 1 and Problem Child 2. And he played the principal of the school that he went to. And he was kind of corrupted and he was equally as bad in his own way as the kid. And he had to suffer at the hands of this, you know, what do they call it? A bad seed?
Yeah. He was worse than the child because you rooted for the child to hurt him.
Yes, exactly. And then he did a Highway to Hell, Look Who's Talking To. And then, of course, the reason that he's affiliated with Disney, he did the voice of Iago the parrot in Aladdin in 1992. Now, Brian wants to mention something he remembers Gilbert from. That was happening right around the same time that all of these things were happening. And what was that, Brian?
Oh, when he voiced Iago in the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management?
No.
No.
We were talking about this earlier.
The way I know Gilbert Gottfried was from a hilarious run on USA, the cable channel, and there was a show called USA Up All Night, and Gilbert Gottfried would host these crazy like B-list movies.
Yeah.
Sort
of like Elvira, but
he would come on during commercial breaks and just like ridicule all of the poor acting in his classic style.
Yeah, with that voice.
Yeah.
So, after his Iago role, he went on to do that voice for several other future projects, including the direct-to-video sequels, the TV series Aladdin, the Saturday morning. Was it still Saturday morning by then? Because they don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore.
Not sure.
And then, of course, the Kingdom Hearts video games. But that wasn't the only voices that he did. And he did voices in and out of Disney from that point forward. And here's some of his other major roles. Forgive me if I haven't heard of some of these, because this was sort of after I stopped watching cartoons. So, Krang, Supreme in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mr. Oh, Lord.
Mr. Mixie Z. Pitlick.
In Superman, the animated series?
No. I know Krang Subprime, though. I used to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a lot.
You know what? By the time that got popular, I was already, I had moved
watching
on.
Seinfeld.
Well, I was already probably in junior high, and I had moved on from those types of shows. Dr. Bender and his son, Wendell, in The Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, that's right.
He was also...
I love that show. Yeah.
That show I remember, but not because I was the age to watch it. It was something an adult could watch and still appreciate. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Ren and Stimpy Show, Duckman, The Adventures of Duckman. Is that something different? No, that was from, I'm confusing things, because there was a Duckman on the Electric Company, I think.
Oh.
Or something
not
like
the same
it
thing.
wasn't that.
Disney's House of Mouse.
That's where he's, again, playing Iago.
Yeah, and countless others. And from another thing I remember, from the 2000s to the 2010s, he became a regular on the game show, the Hollywood Squares, the reboot of it with Whoopi Goldberg. And there's some clips of him online that are hysterical. He always had the funniest answers. There was one time when he was, they kept asking him the question, and the contestant kept getting it wrong over and over, like 10 times in a row, and every time they messed up, he'd go, "You fool!" And he just kept saying, "You fool!" And the audience was dying because it was like a 10 question in a row where they kept asking him the question, because he was to block, because it's tic-tac-toe, and he was blocking the win, so they had to each keep picking him. So they kept asking him questions, and the contestants kept getting them wrong. They'd either disagree with him or agree with him, because that's how the show works. The celebrity gives the answer, and the contestant has to agree or disagree. And then they kept getting it wrong, and then every time they got it wrong, he'd go, "You fool!" It was really funny. It's on YouTube. One thing, although he was famous for being a Disney voice, he did have an adult edge to his humor. And he also had a knack for not following the too soon credo.
Oh, yeah.
He would just I think right after 911 happened, he did this 911 joke that did not go over well. And I think he lost a lot of things because of that joke. He, like, said this terrible joke, like, only a few days after the attacks on the World Trade Center happened, and it did not go over well. But that was
to his own beat.
He did. Yeah. He was the voice of the Aflac duck, and he lost that job.
He lost that job because
that's
of
right. That's right.
Right.
I remember
and
that
they kept using a sound-alike to do the voice, and I think there was talk of a lawsuit, but nothing ever happened because they were basically imitating his voice after they fired him. Mm-hmm. So I don't think anything ever came of it, but there was talk of a lawsuit. But there was a documentary in 2017 called Gilbert about his career and personal life, directed by Neil Berkeley. You want to read the rest here, Ruthie? There's one bullet point. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. So this was just a quote from a film critic who wrote for Variety when they were reviewing this documentary, and I just thought that this quote was pretty a good way to kind of remember him. Gottfried displays no regrets. He has the courage of his abrasive conviction. The most offensive joke we see him tell is one in which he compares his own daughter to Mackenzie Phillips, but if the joke on some level is indefensible, it's really one designed to mock his own insecurities. He is full of fear but fearless. He's just kidding but totally means it. He's a man who puts on his entire stand-up personality like a mothballed old suit, but once he's in character, he is never more himself. You may or may not walk away from Gilbert, a Gilbert Gottfried fan, but either way, the movie makes you glad he exists.
And it also, you never forget him.
Right.
Yeah. He's definitely, you can't say he's not memorable.
Oh, no. He's one of a kind.
And
I think he's such a strong personality that we're going to remember him for a long time. More than just, just for voicing Iago.
Brian mentioned something that we didn't really touch on our outline. Yes, he was also the voice of Iago in the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management. Our favorite audio animatronic. Yes.
Quote unquote. Yeah.
Right.
That's the one that Chris burned down.
Yes.
Shh, you weren't supposed to tell anybody that.
Oops.
Okay. So the next person is someone you may not have heard of. In fact, I had not heard of them until they passed away. And their contribution was small but significant. And this was Norma Swank Carrier Haviland. And she was this is the wrong biography, Ruthie. She was the voice of the chipmunk.
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay.
It's there. Yeah, this is correct.
Yeah.
All right. I was reading this thinking of the person we did the last time and thinking maybe she copied and pasted. What was the name of that lady that died the last time we did this? Her name was Ruth also.
Oh, Ruthie Thompson?
Yeah. Anyway. So she was one of the few surviving artists of animation from the 1940s. So she was involved with animation during the golden era of Disney animation. One of the last surviving people of that era. She passed away in April. And in 1943, she began a 28-year-long career in the ink and paint department as one of the, what did Walt call them? One of the ink and paint girls. And, back then that's how they would, even though they're full-grown adult ladies, women, they called them girls back then. But she was also promoted over time, and she became what they called a final checker, which it was basically her job to inspect all the cells after they're painted to make sure there were no errors. So that was sort of a bump up from, just being one of the online inker and painter women. And the first film she worked on was The Three Caballeros, which was in production at that time, 1943. And she is quoted as saying, that particular picture had a lot of feathers. That was a little difficult for a beginning painter with all those little pointy things.
Yeah, definitely a challenge.
So,
she rose up to it, though. Did a good job.
Working in the ink and paint department of the Burbank studio also offered her the opportunities to do things beyond the animation responsibilities, and she was asked to do voiceovers from time to time. And that's why I was confused, because I didn't realize until just now that she was involved in the animation. I just thought she did the voices. So I'm learning. So she did some voices for various projects over time, including in the Casey at the Bat segment. She's the one who, during the short, there's Jerry Colonna says, a woman goes, "Kill the Empire," kind of in a New Yorkish accent, and then Jerry Colonna goes, "Said the cutie from the stand." Remember that?
Yep.
So that was her.
Great part of that.
That was her debut performance. And she also did the voices of Chip and Dale.
Just Chip, actually, not Dale, just Chip.
Oh, Chip in the Chip and Dale movies.
Yeah.
She made appearances in various shorts before they stepped out and were in their own set of featured shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So frequently she was called out to help with Walla and other sound work. What does that mean, Ruthie? Walla?
I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it's some sort of like background, a term for background voices and stuff like that.
Oh, I know what it is. It's like background, like mumbles, like if people are in a crowd talking.
Mm.
I did help with The Little Mice and Cinderella, and I did a lot of crowd scenes and choruses too. I also sang on Toot, Whistle, Plunk, and Boom in Portuguese. So she must have done the Portuguese version for Brazil and Portugal. Mm-hmm. After her decades-long career at Disney, she moved into the more exacting role within animation, which was the final checking process, which we mentioned earlier. It was much more demanding, and it required a lot more training, and you had to know not just everything about the animation, the painting. You had to know everything about the camera and how the light would affect the way it was painted. Like, oh, you have to touch that up because the light will go through that little spot right there. She had to know all those things. So she left Disney in 1971 after her second marriage and moved to Boston, thus ending her career in animation. And I think she sort of was semi-retired from that point. They later came back to California, her and her husband, and she continued painting as a hobby, and she had a very wonderful retirement. And why don't you close it out, Ruthie, with this last point here?
Okay. So, summing up all she experienced and accomplished within her animation career, in an early interview, she noted, "The main thing I was most proud of was the fact that I was at Disney. I was doing motion picture work, and I've always been a motion picture buff." Well into her 90s, Norma echoed her earlier answer, "I still am very proud of the fact that I worked at Disney."
So we have one other person to talk about, and I know I didn't prepare you for this, Brian, but because I know you're probably, even though Ruthie and I love this actress, I have a feeling that you may love her even more than we do, because you're, out of the three of us, you're the bigger live action buff. So I'm going to let you go through Ruthie's outline and talk about Joanne Barnes. Unless you don't want to, I'll do it, but I'll give
I will.
you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, this one kind of hit us, so, took us all by surprise. But Joanne Barnes, she passed away at the age of 87 in late April. I'm getting choked up here, you guys. She was great. Born in Boston in 1934, she grew up in Hingham, Massachusetts. Graduated from the Milton Academy and Smith College, where she was elected to Phi Beta Kappa. Not the same sorority in Revenge of the Nerds.
Or in Summer Magic.
Yeah, okay. Well, she moved to California like most actresses do, and soon drew the attention of audiences playing the ditzy debutante Gloria Upson in the 1958 film Auntie Mame.
Oh, God, I forgot about that movie. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally remember her in that.
Been a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the girl that the nephew of Annie Mame was going to marry, and she was horrified because she was a stuck-up, like, really snobbish, kind of racist person.
Well, she won a Golden Globe for that.
Nominated.
Oh, nominated. Okay. Well, she should have won.
Yeah.
I don't know who she lost to that year.
I forgot about her in that. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Yeah. But now I totally
So while
see
pursuing her acting career, Barnes also wrote books. She published 4 novels, including The Deceivers, Who Was Carla Hart, Pastora, and Silverwood.
The Deceivers was made. I know The Deceivers. It was made into a movie in the late 60s, and it's, let's just say it's ahead of its time. And, it's got some kind of, I don't want to go into what it's about.
Okay. Well, she was multi-talented, and she also wrote some nonfiction, a book titled Starting from Scratch that evolved from her syndicated newspaper column Touching Home. I didn't know she wrote for a newspaper.
I didn't know she was a writer at all.
Yeah, this is awesome. She's not just Vicky from The Parent Trap.
No. Or what's her name from Sound of Music? Wasn't she in Sound of Music? She played the... No.
I think that... You mean the Baroness?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's easily confused because essentially it's the same type of character.
It's the same character as Vicky, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's see here. She starred as Jane opposite Denny Miller in Tarzan the Ape Man in 1959. And I didn't know this. I need to see this movie again, but she was with Kirk Douglas in Spartacus. So I'm going to have to rewatch
I've never seen Spartacus. I mean, I know about it. It's like an epic,
it's outstanding.
Huge movie, but I've never actually sat down and watched it.
She was in The War Wagon in 1967 and played alongside Tony Curtis in Goodbye Charlie in 1964 and Don't Make Waves in 1967. I wonder if that was like a beach movie.
Could be.
Yeah, I'll have to look some of these up.
Was the time period for that?
Yeah, right. I wonder if she was in that with like Annette and that other dude.
Frankie Avalon?
Frankie Avalon. She was a very pretty lady, so I wouldn't be surprised. Her extensive television credits included starring in 3 series: 21 Beacon Street, The Trials of O'Brien, and Dateline Hollywood.
Dateline Jiminy Crickets.
Yeah. Not 21 Jump Street, 21 Beacon Street. She was a frequent guest on dozens of TV series, including The Millionaire, Mannix, Murder, She Wrote, and Cheers, and also a guest on many of TV's early quiz programs and chat shows, including What's My Line, To Tell the Truth, and The Johnny Carson Show. I saw one episode of her on What's My Line, and she was on the panel. That's usually what she did.
Yeah.
One of the guest star was Haley Mills.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I
so-
remember that because that was that they said how she didn't guess her, and she's like, oh, she was all
Right.
upset because she knew her personally.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, we all know her from the Disney film The Parent Trap in '61, starring
Yeah.
Haley Mills, where she played the wicked gold digger Vicki Robinson,
Listen,
out
pet.
to sink her claws into
Remember
the
when
twins'
she
dad.
sits her down and she goes, "Listen, pet."
Oh, she was so good in that.
Yeah, she was. You love to hate her.
Yeah.
Vicky, what are you
you're-
doing? I'm scaring away the lions.
The mountain lions hitting some sticks together.
Yeah, that really works, you know?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Yeah, she was great with Brian Keith in that. And then she actually came back later in '98 with Lindsay Lohan and that remake as the mother.
Yes.
Yeah, so she just kind of like morphed into her mom.
Right.
in the
Kind of
sequel.
interesting.
Or not the sequel, it was a remake. But
Yeah.
The remake.
Yeah.
So, now that we've honored those who we've lost, and we miss them all, and we always will, let's move on to some happier topics. And we have a very special top 10 this episode. Well, as per the norm, we're doing another top 10 list. And just want to mention that because of the passing of Gilbert Gottfried, and this happens to be the 30th anniversary of Aladdin this year, we decided to kind of devote the rest of this episode to the 1992 classic animated feature Aladdin. So the remainder of our topics for today are all going to be based on Aladdin, beginning with our top 10 list. And the topic of our top 10 list is Aladdin Easter eggs. Brian,
did
what
you say 30 years?
Yes.
That's crazy. I graduated high school in '92.
I did too. So did I.
Wow. Are we all class of '92?
Ruthie's younger than us, so
Yeah.
she's probably class of '94, right? Unless you don't want to tell.
Yeah.
A woman doesn't like to give away her age, which is
Oops.
fine.
Sorry, Ruthie. But wow, 30 years.
Class of '80,
Okay.
class of 2000, what, Ruthie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I was held back in first grade because I'm a year older than Brian, so it sounds like we graduated the same year because I flunked
you didn't
first
pass
grade.
all those SRA tests in
Well,
English?
part of the problem was I needed glasses and I couldn't see the chalkboard correctly, and I was having issues, and they didn't figure out that I needed glasses until the end of my year, and so I had to take first grade over again. But TMI. We're
Well, I'm
talking
glad
about
that I
Aladdin.
belong in the class of '92. But anyways, 92, Aladdin, 30 years. Wow.
Easter eggs. So, what do we mean by Easter eggs, Ruthie?
Well, that would be, I don't know, it's kind of a broad term in this perspective on this film, but like just things, little things that you might not have noticed in the film that are referencing other things.
Right. Pop culture references for the most part. Some Disney, some outside of Disney.
Yeah, little hidden gems.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Ruthie, why don't you start with our number 10 Aladdin Easter egg?
All right, this is definitely a hidden Easter egg because
I can't even see it in this
the
picture.
Film yesterday, and I could not see this.
You really have to freeze it at the exact moment, or you'll miss it.
Right. So this is a quick scene at the end after the Jafar is turned into. He was a sorcerer, and he cursed everybody. The Sultan, Jasmine, and Raja, and when his curse is lifted after he becomes a genie and is trapped into the lamp, the curse is revealed and everybody goes back to their normal state, and so Raja is becoming back his normal.
He was turned into a kitten.
Yeah.
So that he had no, power over Jafar, but then when he reverted back to being a genie, he changed back to the full adult Raja.
Right. And as he transforms, you can see a Mickey head kind of in
his face.
In and around his face. Yeah. And you can see in this picture here, really, like I said, I was not able to see this yesterday when I rewatched it because the scene is like a second.
Yeah, and I really don't even see it here. I mean,
there's another Easter egg here as well. Jasmine's doing her best impression of some MC Hammer pants.
Oh, there you go.
Which was popular.
What happened to her feet too? There are little points at the end.
Just breaking it down.
Well, this is a freeze frame, so they're in the middle of action here, so that's why it looks weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I can see it.
You see the weirdest things in movies when you pause it.
When you pause it, yep, it's true.
I see even one other Easter egg here. The one with the 10. See, there's a 10 with an Easter egg. It's red.
Okay. Oh. Well, that's going to be on every slide.
All right. Well, if that's... You're going to... Okay. I love your Hebrew font for Easter eggs, by the way.
Wait a minute, that is kind of ironic, isn't it? Well, I wanted it to look kind of Mid-Eastern. That was my thinking, not Hebrew, but I didn't have a Mid-Eastern specific, so I thought this was
it's
close.
Cool,
but you're right, that is kind of. But we're not talking about Easter as far as the actual holiday, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So anyway, what's the next one, Brian?
Okay, so the next one, when Aladdin is whisking away Jasmine on a magic carpet ride, you get a sneak peek at the Temple of Zeus, which is the same. Well, I guess it was. Wait, did Hercules come after this? It did, right?
Yes.
So they reused this, or maybe they was already in the works and they just showed off Zeus's temple here.
Well, I would argue that this is hearkening backwards to Fantasia, especially the little cherub on the statue. It looks just like the cherubs from the not Rite of Spring, the pastoral segment of Fantasia. So it's a
or they're doing their Pixar thing where they're foreshadowing the next film to come out.
I think they kind of were, because the same people who made Aladdin also made Hercules. So Ron Clements and John Musker. So I think they probably were in the process of, because these movies are planned out 3-4 years in advance. So.
Yes. Can we move on now? Any final?
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is This is a scene where, see, the Sultan, Jasmine's father, is hypnotized by Jafar, and he's sort of like, all he does is play with toys, and he's like completely clueless to what's going on because he's under the spell of Jafar. So he's constantly playing with all these little toys and things. And he makes a little pile of toys at one point, which you see in this picture. And one of the toys in the pile looks like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You can see in the circle there.
Mm-hmm. With the arrow, yeah.
Now, next to him, I see the hippo from It's a Small World, but that's just me. I could be wrong.
There is also, below it, there's a little bird that kind of looks like Iago as well.
Where?
Down at the bottom, next to that blue
Oh, yes,
fox
yes.
or
The
whatever.
little parrot under the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Ruthie, you're next.
Yes.
What's...
All right, so we have a few impressions on here, and this is the first one. So, I mean, and really, we just tried to pick the most popular ones.
Most famous, well-known.
Yeah, the genie impersonates so many people throughout the film. And the first one we have on the list is where he's impersonating Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this is right in the beginning of A Friend Like Me segment, right before the song starts. Mm-hmm. And he says, "The ever impressive." And this is where he, does his Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
Mm-hmm. And the next one, Brian.
All right, another animated film Easter egg. So, in this scene, the genie, Aladdin wishes to be a prince, and so the genie pulls out his like royal recipe book. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of going through like chicken a la king, Alaskan king crab, and while he does that, he pulls out like Sebastian.
And it goes do 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 do. Like
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So many of these Disney Easter eggs, you get a little clip of of the song. So that's not the only time that happens. There's a couple more that actually in my favorite scenes I'll mention later. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the next one is another character from the past, going way back. Pinocchio, when Aladdin tells Genie that after he makes his first two wishes, he's going to give he's going to make his third wish to give the genie his freedom, and he turns his face into Pinocchio with a long nose, and he calls Aladdin a liar because he doesn't believe him. So the next one, Ruthie.
This is another impression. The genie impersonates Rodney Dangerfield, and this is kind of a little bit after the Prince Ali, when they're trying to convince Aladdin to be honest about where he comes from. You know, he's actually like playing a game with the carpet, and he says, "I can't believe it, I'm losing to a rug," and he turns himself into Rodney Dangerfield. So that's a very iconic image here too.
Why is he playing chess with a rug?
I don't know.
With no eyes.
Is it my turn or Brian's turn? My turn, right? So this is...
Yeah, you could do this one.
This is, at the end of the movie, Genie left for a while because he kind of got... His feelings were hurt because he found out Aladdin might not make his last wish to give him his freedom, and he was going back on his word. So he left, but eventually he does come back at the end, and he's been on a vacation. Reminds me of the end of The Sword and the Stone when Merlin comes back wearing Bermuda shorts.
To Bermuda.
In this case, he comes back and he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, he's got golf clubs, and has on a goofy hat. It looks like he's been to Disney World. And this also is a reference to Robin Williams' appearance in a film that was shown at the Disney MGM Studios and was still being shown at that time, where he talked about animation. It was called Back to Neverland. And Robin Williams actually wore the exact same outfit in that little movie that was made for the tour. Anyway, so it was kind of referencing that, and also referencing Disney World, which didn't exist back in the day, the Arabian Nights days. So it's kind of a funny thing. All of the Genie's references are like funny because they're modern day references, but this movie takes place like in 1000 BC or 1000 AD, around then. So. And the next one, Brian, do you want to do this one? Do you know what this is?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Ron Clements and John Musker were the lead animators for this film. And I guess a little bit of self-gratification here. They drew themselves in to the film. This is when Prince Ahmed is arriving. And they're just bystanders there. And they actually have a couple spoken lines. Huh? I can't remember what they said, though. Do you remember, Ruthie?
Yes. That's when they're like, another suitor for the princess.
Great accent.
I've seen this movie a lot. I know a lot of the lines.
Yep, that's awesome.
So if you don't know, a lot of times in the past, Disney animators have made cameos in animated films going all the way back to the 30s. So this is nothing new. And the last one, Ruthie.
So the last one is the last and most famous impersonation that the genie does, and this is of Jack Nicholson. And again, back to the scene where they're telling Aladdin that he needs to tell Jasmine the truth about where he came from and who he is. He's like, all right, Sparky, here's what you gotta do. And he turns himself into Jack Nicholson. And
you gotta be a straight shooter.
Yep. And I just think it's so iconic. And I mean, again, all of these things are really quick that happen in the film, but it's just so memorable because he really does look like Jack Nicholson and he sounds like it. And it's just amazing. I think all of these impersonations really came from having Robin Williams as the voice of the genie, because that's the type of comedy and comedian he was.
None of this was scripted. It was all improv.
Just off cuff, just start. He had lines in front of him, but he would ad-lib, and he would do these impersonations and things like that he could do. And so they just incorporated that into the film, which is just one of the reasons why this is such a great film.
Can you imagine being an animator listening to Robin Williams and he's like, oh my gosh, now we got to draw Jack Nicholson?
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
Now I got to draw you Dangerfield.
The genie as Jack Nicholson, not just Jack Nicholson.
Right. Like, come on, man. Got other films coming up.
Right. So.
But it's perfect.
So that's our number one Easter egg.
Well, now we have more Aladdin topics, so let's jump ahead to the next topic, and it's we're bringing back an oldie but a goodie, encyclopedia.
Get the encyclopedia, ENCYCLOPEDIA. Encyclopedia. If you want to know the answers, here is the way. Just look inside this book and you will see everything from A clear down through Z in the encyclopedia. ENCYCLOPEDIA.
So Ruthie chose the topic, and we're going to talk about the former presentation at the Hyperion Theater at Disney California Adventure, Aladdin, a Musical Spectacular. And Ruthie took some notes, and she's going to share those with you. So go ahead, Ruthie.
Yeah, so this is Disney's Aladdin, a musical spectacular, which was a Broadway-style show based on the 1992 animated feature Aladdin. And it featured the music of Alan Menken and with lyrics by Howard Ashman and Tim Rice. And this theater is located in the Hollywoodland section at DCA, Disney's California Adventure. You can see it here, a picture, that's the street, and then the theater is at the end of the street. And this show actually ran from 2003 to 2016. And this, like I said before, it's a Broadway style show. And one of the things that was really, kind of made this such a fantastic thing to do, something that you didn't want to miss when you were at DCA, was that it was recreating the scenes from the film, and it was also kind of involving the audience a lot more than like a normal show would. So things would be walking up and down the aisles, you know, different animals, like in the Prince Ali scene, like you could see in this picture, you know, he's riding an elephant and it would be kind of going up and down the aisles. Another thing, you know, there would be like magic carpets and lamps, and everybody would be kind of involving the audience. Not exactly like you weren't part of the show, but you were there in the middle of it, basically. And the theater was a 2,000 seat theater, so it held a lot of people. And here's a picture of kind of like a bird's eye view kind of look at the way the theater looked, but it held a lot of people. But really it also did feel like you were at a Broadway show the way the theater was inside, because of the only thing you didn't do was buy tickets and have a specific seat. But this was an event at the going to see the different showings throughout the day, because you had to get in line a good amount of time ahead of time to be able to actually see one of the showings.
Totally. We'd wait up to an hour.
Yep.
Yeah. It was so
or
good.
more, depending on how many people were at the park that day. But yeah, you were definitely having to plan to wait. And then this production, the film is 90 minutes, and this production was cut to 45. And ironically, though, they did actually add a new song for this production called "To Be Free" that Alan Menken composed and wrote the lyrics for, just for this particular performance.
Is that the song that Jasmine sings about being a bird in a gilded cage?
I'm not sure, actually.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that sounds like it probably is.
Right, there's a scene where she's like standing in front of this little bird cage and wishes to be free.
That's the point in the movie where you think there's going to be a song and there isn't one.
Yeah.
With Raja, yeah.
Right. Yep, you're right. So one of the things about this show that really made it popular was, just like the film, the character of the genie. And what they did in this performance is kind of keep his lines refreshed and kind of tuned into the current pop culture of the day, which is, similar to what Chris was just mentioning about the film. Genie was referencing, current things that people would know, and this genie in this performance would also do the same. So, he might mention, so-and-so's dress, I don't know, like certain things that not anything that was mentioned in the actual movie. So they would actually be writing new dialogue for the show.
Current events.
Yeah, exactly. Things that were popular at the time and things like that.
Current pop culture references.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that always made this show so fresh and new, and oh my gosh, tears.
Yeah.
We would be sitting in the audience just crying tears from laughter,
because it was unexpected. You didn't know what he was going to say,
right? And
it was always really funny, delivered in the same way the genie says it in the movie. Obviously not by Robin Williams, but by an actor who's playing.
That's not Robin Williams in that picture?
No, I'm sorry, that's not.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought Robin Williams had orange teeth.
Yeah. And blue skin. Yes.
Yeah.
But we were pass holders in 2010, 2011. We saw this show like probably at least 30 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was always packed in there.
Always.
People would wait, and just the Genie drew so many folks.
Yeah.
To watch and rewatch and over and over and over again.
So in 2003, Buena Vista Records released an official soundtrack to the production, which featured the original cast and then and the music, obviously, and then it was arranged and orchestrated by Timothy Williams. I'm sure you probably have that, don't you, Chris? Although not on your site.
It is on my site because
Is it?
I actually have a Hyperion Theater section on my Disneyland Showtime chapter.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I figured since
and
it
it's
was
on
DCA, I didn't know that you would have that.
There are a few things from DCA. That's one of them.
Well,
So
there you
that
go.
is chapter 14, Brian.
Thank you.
Now we can all go to the site after you finish watching this and go listen to that.
Yeah,
Now.
The complete show is on there.
Oh, that's cool. So originally Disney had announced that they were going to replace this show with a Toy Story musical, and that they were going to close Aladdin in 2010.
Oh, I remember that.
I
But
do
for
too,
for a variety of reasons, Aladdin was extended, and the Toy Story musical was shelved.
One of those was a revolt by the fans.
Yeah.
Was it?
That's
People
true.
were like, can't
People
ever
were
get
not
rid of this
happy
show.
about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But unfortunately, they re-announced that they were going to remove Aladdin in 2015 and replace it with a musical based off of the 2013 animated film Frozen, which they did, and then that opened in 2016.
And that divided a lot of fans too.
Right. Right.
Because that was really kind of an interesting time, because Frozen was so popular and
Right.
people wanted to see that, but they also wanted to see Aladdin, and then there was like they tried to figure out how they could run both shows at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
See, I would wait an hour to see Aladdin. I would not wait an hour to see Frozen.
Yeah.
After you saw Frozen, you'd probably wait an hour to see it again. It was really good. I'm not a big Frozen fan, but after seeing that show, it was like, wow, it was pretty amazing.
I do know, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this. This show was so popular, and it never stopped being popular. So that's the kind of interesting thing why they even wanted to replace it, other than the fact of just having something running for 13 years or whatever. That's kind of a long time. So, but so they eventually did replace it, like I said. And I don't think that Frozen has ever had the same popularity. Even though it is popular, it's not to the same level as Aladdin.
No, didn't last nearly as long.
Yeah.
It's over.
Is it? It's gone from.
Yeah, they're not doing
DCA
anything
now?
in the theater now.
That's too bad. They definitely need to bring something in there.
You think they'll bring it back, or they'll replace it with something else? Because the reason it wasn't running is because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole
I'm
theater
sure with
aspect.
the proximity of the theater to Avengers Campus.
Yeah,
now,
that's true. Maybe
it's
Marvel.
probably going to be.
Maybe they'll do
changed
It's a
over
Bird,
to
It's a Plane, It's Superman, which was a musical from the 60s, actually. I'm not
I don't
making
know,
that up.
but it's really,
DC.
they really need to.
Oh, that's right. That's DC. See
Yeah,
how
that's
big of a
DC.
Marvel fan I am? Oh, they
Yeah,
can do
exactly.
Spider-Man. They can do Spider-Man the musical. That was a
Good,
musical.
Although that was very fraught with dangerous heights
Yes,
and things like that.
that's
so-
sort of notorious for
right.
They could call it Lawsuit
Well,
the
bring
musical.
back Frozen or something. God, that you mentioned that was a 2,000
2,000
seat
seat
theater.
seat theater. That's right there. That's a people eater.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
2,000 people watching, and then you've got another 500 probably in line.
In the
for
line, exactly. Yep, you're right. So
Whatever they do,
Yeah.
they need to add awnings to the waiting areas outside.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
we
yeah,
used
they
to sit in those lines, and we'd be eating chimichangas and all kinds of snacks.
Yeah.
Just waiting. But
Yeah.
yeah, just one other thing about that theater. Boy, wasn't it absolutely gorgeous in there?
Oh, it was. It was.
It was like you were in the El Capitan or you were in the New
Yep.
Amsterdam. Just the same level of detail.
And one of the highlights too was if you were sitting on the balcony, there's a scene, the whole New World scene, where Aladdin and Jasmine are literally on a magic carpet.
Oh yeah.
And you are right there at the same level as them if you're in the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool.
Have you seen the YouTube video where they got stuck on the carpet
I've heard about
in the
it,
middle
yeah.
of the show? And they had to end the show.
Yep.
And they were just stuck up there. Everybody was leaving the theater with them up there. And they were
they had
waving.
There's like
remove everybody. Yeah.
They were waving goodbyes to people.
we're just gonna stay up here.
They had to stay in character while they were
Yeah.
stuck
The
up
genie
there.
was making jokes about it. It was
Yeah.
Well-
the genie jokes.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
But while this is gone from DCA, it is not gone from anything Disney. A version of the show continues to play on board the Disney Cruise Line ship Disney Fantasy, and the show will be reimagined on board the new Disney Cruise Line ship Disney Wish. So you can still see this on some version. And I also did want to make a point that yes, they do have a Broadway musical on Broadway of Aladdin, but that did not even come out until 2011. So really, this A Musical Spectacular was the first type of any sort of Aladdin Broadway-ish type performance on a stage, even before the Broadway show.
I think this was the inspiration for
Right.
the Broadway production.
And they
also,
knew it was going to be popular because this show was so popular.
I would also argue that the Beauty and the Beast stage show back in the 90s was the inspiration for the Beauty and the Beast stage show on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lion King Parade Festival of
yeah.
the Lion King was the inspiration for the Broadway musical as well. So, yeah, there's a trend there.
So yeah, Disney has the advantage of having these stages where they can really get these IP in front of people in such a large quantity because, you know, they can do 4 performances a day of these shows because they cut them down, and, you know, you can really kind of gauge if the audience likes this type of thing. So that's really cool that they're able to do that.
Oh, what a show. You
I
want to hear
know.
my favorite genie joke?
Yes.
He goes up to this to you know, he's like, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if your last name was Pepper Shaker?" To the Sultan. He doesn't say it, but the audience has to figure out what he's talking about.
Oh, that's funny.
And now on to our next topic.
Oh, wait, no more genie jokes.
So for our final topic, wow, we're chugging along. We'll be under 2 hours for a change. So our next topic, we're each going to name off our 2 favorites in 3 different categories. Our 2 favorite characters, our 2 favorite scenes, and our 2 favorite songs from Aladdin. Now, normally, we would have done a podcast, our regular audio podcast, for Aladdin's 30th anniversary. But because of the passing of Gilbert Gottfried and a very full agenda with other podcast topics this year, we decided to instead do this as a Dateline episode. And normally, when we talk about films on our regular podcast, we usually end it the same way we're going to end this, where we name our favorite character, scene, and song. So that's how we came up with this idea. So I'm going to go first. And my favorite character, we're going in order. We're not doing, 2, 1. We're going 1, 2. So my favorite character from Aladdin is the Genie, Robin Williams, in one of his greatest film roles ever. And like Ruthie was alluding to earlier, they brought Robin in and just told him, here's the script, but, just use it as a guide. And he basically just improvisations the entire script. Because in animation, they actually record the dialogue first. And then they do the animation later. It could even be a couple years later. So he did his thing, and then the animators had to animate around all the references that he made. So I just think that's a lot of fun. He's a fun character. He's a favorite. And, Ruthie, what is your favorite character? Don't surprise us now.
I know I won't. But my very favorite character in this film is also the genie. And for all the reasons that Chris mentioned, but on top of that, he is the heart of this film. He is, not only is he fun and fun-loving, and, he looks at life in a certain kind of fun way, even though he is technically a slave to the lamp, he's trapped in the lamp, but he still brings like such, fun, joyful attitude to the world around him and who he's interacting with at that time. He also encourages Aladdin to tell the truth, and which is a huge, I think that's one of the main underlying stories that is happening in this film is be yourself, tell the truth. You're going to be loved for who you are. Yes. You're going to be loved because you are such a great person who you are, and you don't have to pretend to be somebody else. The genie is just such a great, he's a very, very similar to kind of Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio. He is like the conscience in a way. And I think that that's why he's such an integral part of this film, and that's why he is the most beloved character of this film.
Brian,
here.
Why don't you give us a surprise with who your favorite character is?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
It is the thief at the very beginning.
Yeah.
That gets swallowed up in the Cave of Wonders.
Gazim.
Gazim. Yeah. How can you
teeth.
not pick Genie to be your favorite?
Right.
For a character that doesn't show up until 35 minutes or so?
You're right.
He leaves such a lasting impression. We talked about him in the Aladdin Spectacular. He has to be the star of that show too.
Yep.
He's who everybody talks about afterwards. I'm not going to repeat what you and Chris and Ruth, what you guys said. You guys said it all, but just a little snippet here. The lead animator for Genie's Eric Goldberg. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Can you see a lot of Eric Goldberg here?
Yeah. Yep, that's true. And also, you can
Especially
see that
the
they
blue
kind
skin.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can kind of see that they drew Genie's face to look like Robin Williams, especially in this picture, because his nose and his eyes, they look the same.
Definitely inspired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really like what you said about Genie being the conscience figure, and just providing. I think Genie really attached himself to Aladdin because. Well, for one, Aladdin said he'd send him free, but also, I wonder how he was with the other masters he's had in the past. Mm-hmm. Was he that same kind of figure?
Mm-hmm.
He was really rooting for Aladdin the whole time, and just provided. Right. He just provided a means to the end, but really, Aladdin had to come to that realization that being true to yourself, being honest, was really going to win him success in the end. But. Yeah, Genie. Funny.
So my second choice is Iago, the monkey.
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
Iago?
You knew that already.
Well, I know.
His name is not Iago.
His name is Abu.
Oh, Abu. That's what I meant to say.
I thought you were doing a joke. I was waiting for you to fix it.
No, I wasn't. I messed up. And I was wondering why you were laughing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Abu the monkey.
Yes.
Just because he's cute. And he doesn't talk. I always appreciate that.
But
And
he actually does talk.
well, he
Yeah,
squeaks.
Frank Welker does his voice.
He squeaks a little bit in a cute way, and I love that. I love that he's becomes an elephant. I can
Yes.
relate.
Oh, yeah.
I can relate to that. And
Okay.
and what else? I just think he's adorable. That's why I like his design, his character design, and I love monkeys in general. I just always thought monkeys were the funniest, cutest
He's fun.
creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that
I
he's
love
a
the scene where
Well,
he's
he's
like
a
not
mischief
going to release
maker.
Aladdin from the prison
Yeah.
unless he like stops talking about Jasmine.
Yeah.
And he does that little like
Yeah.
phooey.
Yeah.
So Ruthie's second favorite character is Jafar's men.
No. I just want to say one thing about Abu is, I think that he is really cute, and that he is just so, just brings some livelihood to the film too, and like his dynamic between him and Aladdin is just really cute, and even like the beginning when Aladdin, he steals an apple, or they steal bread, that's what it is, from the marketplace, and they're both eating, and they're both about to sit down and eat, but then they notice that there's two kids, and they're off by themselves, and they're hungry.
Oh, yeah.
So Aladdin decides to share his bread, and he's basically, urging Abu to share too, and he doesn't really want to, but then he does, and then they're playing with him. So, he just kind of gives this little like alternative personality to Aladdin that I think, together they're a great duo.
Yeah, he's like grouchy about things, but
Yeah.
he's quick to join Aladdin's side.
Yeah, exactly. He is. So, but my second favorite character is Jasmine. I think I like how they drew her as or not so much drew, but how her, she has a strong personality, and she has her, the things that she thinks are right, and also that, the other thing that people don't really think very much of it, but she's not judgmental. When she does find out that Aladdin was not telling her the truth, she's a little upset, but she knows why.
Knew. I think she knew the
she
whole
did.
time.
But still, the fact that she knew and he still didn't tell her, kind of, that's kind of upsetting. But she's still very understanding, and she
suspected, and then when he said, "Do you trust me?"
Do you trust me? Yeah.
Then she knew for sure. Yeah.
But she was also able to see something in Aladdin pretty quickly when she first meets him in the marketplace. That is, that she sees like this pure of heart person, and she does trust him, even though they literally
this
just met.
Chiseled young guy.
Yeah.
Is what she sees.
She sees he's a diamond in the rough.
Exactly. There you go. A young
Hot chiseled
man that
guy
is
with
more
nice
than what he
pecs.
sees. Yes. But the one thing that I did want to say, I wish that they would have kind of fleshed her out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And, in this film, she's not the one who ends up changing the law about her having to marry a prince. It's the Sultan. But in the remake, in the 2019 live action remake, they kind of deal with that issue a little bit more and make it a better plot point, I personally think. But I still think she's a great character. She's a great princess. And you know that she's going to be a great leader of Agrabah one day.
And every time I see that movie, we talked about this earlier, when we first see her on the balcony, and she puts her hand up and the bird flies out, you think there's going to be a song, and it just fades away to the next scene. And
they did add a song.
I think there was originally supposed to be... I think there was supposed to be a song there originally, and they cut it for whatever reason, and it always felt weird. It was noticeable that it was cut.
Yeah.
There
That
is
was
an
a
added song
tearjerker
in the
moment
live
in that.
action film that she sings. So,
That song she sang was such a tearjerker in the Aladdin Spectacular.
Yeah.
So Brian's second favorite character is the titular Aladdin.
Yeah. Do you know this
And
is the only Disney
in this
film?
picture, he's going, huh?
I know, right?
He's like, he's a little Twitter-pated.
Yeah.
This is like the only Disney film that doesn't have the princess that's in it is not part of the title.
Mm.
Yeah, it's named after the male character.
It's named after the male character.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that because I lost a trivia contest on that question.
Oh.
Well, you know what? I was like going back and forth between Aladdin and the Magic Carpet. Just the Magic Carpet is such a cool character. Like for like
Give me some
a piece
tassel.
of material. Yeah, I know. Haven't seen you in a few millennia. Give me some tassel. I just love the animation of the carpet and how they give it the carpet like human features, like the tassels or hands, and and the way he like, especially like when Abu tells the carpet to get out of here, or whatever, and then the carpet
he's all like
turns
hanging
around,
his
like,
yeah. He emotes very unusually as a carpet.
Yeah,
just
well done. But yeah, I mean, somebody's got to pick Aladdin to be their favorite, so might as well be me.
Okay.
I just like his whole. I mean, he's just a nice guy. He's really. I mean, you see that when he shares his bread that he pretty much risked his life to get at the beginning, and gives it to the kids, and he's genuinely smitten by Jasmine, and tries to help her. Comes up with that funny plan, thinking that Abu's the Sultan.
Oh yeah.
Apple stealing scene.
Hello, doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just a good guy that he's a character you want to root for from the very beginning, and like all characters in films like this, they're going to go through some soul searching moments, and you kind of feel for him, but you understand why he at first doesn't want to give Genie his last wish, because he's smitten by Jasmine. He also wants to do what's right, and he when he's going through that dilemma, you really feel for him. Like, man, he just dissed the Genie and also made some nasty remarks to Abu and Magic Carpet, and he's feeling bad, but immediately he the Genie's right. I need to be true to myself. I need to be who I am. I need to tell Jasmine who I really am. And once he goes down that path of decision making, you really fall in love with his character, and it just gives him that extra energy he needs to fix things, even after things go awry when Jafar gets his hands on the lamp. But, yeah, he's awesome. I like Aladdin.
He is.
The next category is our favorite. Oh.
Sorry.
The next category.
A lot of skin in this movie. Sorry.
The next category is our favorite scene. And my favorite scene is the scene of the parade. When Prince Ali arrives in town with all of his animals and subjects, and what is it? He's got 25 golden camels.
His menagerie.
Yeah. So yeah, I just
3 peacocks.
I love this
Love the
scene.
feathers.
It's so colorful and lively and upbeat. I love the song. Ruthie, what's your favorite scene?
Well, my favorite scene is, we're going to call it the Friend Like Me scene, and this is, where you first really are introduced to the Genie. Aladdin rubs the lamp, the Genie comes out. Aladdin doesn't really understand what's going on, so this is how he kind of introduces who he is and what he can do for Aladdin. And this is such a great scene. I mean, you're instantly falling in love with this character just in this beginning. And then when you realize, how he is and what he can do, it's just even more fun. So this is just such a fun scene for me.
Brian, what's your favorite scene?
Well, this is the scene almost immediately after Ruthie's scene, and you think maybe you're going to get a break from all the genie's jokes, but nope. He blasts Aladdin out of the cave, and then they arrive at this little oasis area. Maybe that's the inspiration for Aladdin's Oasis.
Yes.
in Disneyland. Thank you for flying Magic Carpet Airlines.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Goodbye now. Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye. And, it's just funny how Aladdin tricks him into getting him out of the cave, and Genie thinks he's already down by one wish, and he's like, nope, I want to be a prince, though. Well, I think this is another thing about Aladdin that I really like, when Genie's asks him, well, what do you want to wish for? And Aladdin turns the question right around and says, what would you wish for? And that's how he discovers that Genie would really, I'd wish to be free. And instead of just walking around, poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need?
What does he say? It's like all this power and a little itty bitty
phenomenal cosmic power. Itty bitty living space.
Yep. So, the Genie's like, that's not going to happen. Only my master can wish me free. Well, Genie, wake up and smell the hummus. and Aladdin's like, I'll free you. Sure. And that's when you get that Pinocchio Easter egg.
Yeah.
So he wishes to be a prince. And this whole scene right here where it's like, I love this girl. And, he can't make Aladdin love him. But there's a funny little scene
make anybody fall in love with each other.
One of my favorite moments in this scene is when the Genie turns into like a little French guy. He's like, c'est l'amour. And
yeah, and he's smoking a cigarette. Yeah.
He's got a beret. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a little table set up, and you see Abu. He's got a little glass of wine. He's like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And the magic carpet is raising his glass. Like the magic carpet's been there, done that, right?
Yeah, he knows the Genie. Yeah.
So Aladdin wishes for a prince, and then he consults his royal recipe book, chicken a la king, the Alaskan king crab, Caesar salad, et tu brute.
Yeah.
Then he turns into this tailor guy, and this exchange is hilarious. He's like, let's make you a prince. Patches. What are we trying to say here? Beggar? Let's work with me here. And then,
Robin Williams.
Yeah, he's got them all decked out in the prince gear. He's like, we need transportation. So he turns Abu... It turns into game show Genie right here. Yep. And all of these various Abu transformation, but he ends up with Esa Lalumbo Shimin Dumbo and turns Abu into an elephant. How many Dumbo references are in this movie, you guys? There's another one later.
I'm not really sure.
Oh, at the end of the Prince Ali scene, when they come in and they like come in the front door, Abu like opens the door with his
he like slams it open.
And then you see like the end of the song, it's like really grand, and you see like this little pyramid of pachyderms on a little ball.
Yep.
Like Dumbo reference. Talk about your trunk space.
So
all right, that's it.
My second favorite scene is just before those two scenes, when Aladdin is trapped inside the Cave of Wonders, and he's racing around on the carpet, and all the fire and rocks and everything are following after him. I think it was mostly done with computer graphics, and it was, for the time, I remember it being very exciting. And just sort of like way ahead of its time as far as graphics. So I remember it being very impressive when I saw it in the theater originally, and it always stuck out to me. So that's why I picked it, because it's visually stunning to me.
It is. Yeah, there's like one point where he's on the magic carpet, and you are in the perspective of Aladdin on the carpet, and you're heading
POV
towards
shot.
like the wall, and it looks like you're gonna crash in, but then he just goes down, and the camera, the way they maneuver the camera is really cool in this scene.
Yeah, and they couldn't have done it without computers, which they were at that time were perfecting.
Right, exactly. So they did it very well on this scene.
Ruthie, what's your next favorite?
My next favorite scene is the end. When Aladdin...
That's not very nice.
I know, right? When it's over. No, I'm just kidding. When Aladdin decides to use his final wish to release the genie, and they've gone through everything that's happening, and one of the things that Aladdin realizes is that if he had released the genie when he had the chance, the ending wouldn't have happened, because Jafar wouldn't have gotten a hold of the lamp to, and use his wishes to take over Agrabah and become a sorcerer and all this stuff. Right. And if he had released the genie previously, so he realizes that, okay, now's my chance. I just need to do it. I can't be selfish. I need to do this. This is for the best for everybody. So he releases the genie, and in this conversation that they're having, Aladdin and the genie are having a conversation. He's like, well, you still have your final wish. What do you want to wish for? Hey, you want to be a prince again? You want to be this? You want to do that? And he's like, yeah. Genie, I wish you free. And he just says it. It's not even like, he's not even contemplating going back and forth. He just says it. And Genie's so surprised. And it's just such an emotional scene, because you see his shackles that are on his wrists break, like you see in this picture here. They come off, and he can't believe it. He's free, and so it's just such a great way to end the film.
Yeah, they didn't follow the script that the genie was showing Aladdin. Here's the part of the movie where you're supposed to wish me free.
That's right. Yeah. Earlier, yeah. He's like,
the end.
I wish you were free. Yeah.
Yep. This is the part of the script you're supposed to. Yeah.
Brian, what's your second favorite scene?
So, okay.
This is his favorite scene. Look, right okay. Here.
There's a reason for this, all right?
I know the reason.
I mean, okay. All right. She's pretty. Right? And she's kind of showing it off a little bit here. So, this
okay, and now to our favorite songs. That's the reason.
Yeah. That's it, Brian?
Well, I got a little bit here. Just a couple things. I mean, this is right before Ruthie's second favorite scene, right? This is like the climactic scene where, right. Jafar is now what has he already wished for his second wish?
Yeah, he's the most powerful sorcerer in the world.
Yeah,
and then
they claim Jasmine as his queen, and
convince him
forces Jasmine to.
Sorry.
What's that, Chris?
I was going to give away the ending.
Oh well.
I mean, you can.
I mean, spoiler alert, if we should have said it earlier. We're talking about everything in this movie.
He wishes, his third wish is that he wishes he was a genie, because genies have even more power than a sorcerer. Yeah. But the downside is that genies are imprisoned in a lamp, and they can't, even though they're more powerful, they're not in control of their power. Right. They have to abide by a master.
That's the trick Aladdin plays.
The moral of the story is don't
be power hungry.
Be careful what you wish
anyways,
for.
Back to this little scene. For one thing, Jafar's excellent taste in women's clothing here. So as things are not looking really well for Jasmine and Raja there, who's been turned into a little tiger kitty. But out of the corner of her eye, she noticed Aladdin sneak back into the palace after being banished to the snowy mountain. Mm-hmm. And at first, Jasmine's like, she's just repulsed by Jafar. But here is where I think the leading animator was Mark Henn. He kind of channels his inner Freddie Moore right here, and creates this scene that will ensure dads bring back their daughters to Aladdin for time and all eternity.
No.
So she just plays it off really well. Like, I love the gaps between your teeth. Your beard is so twisted.
Is so twisted.
Yeah. You have stolen my heart. And then, Aladdin shows up and there's a big fight. And then, like Chris said, he makes Jafar realize he's only the second most powerful, that the genie's number one, and so Jafar wishes to be genie. And Aladdin says, well, you got all these phenomenal
Really?
cosmic powers.
How do they animate him saying that?
I don't know. I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense because I'm just staring at Jasmine the whole time.
So my favorite song is the same as my favorite scene, Prince Ali. And here is Robin Williams. See, the fun thing about it is Robin Williams is like, he appears throughout the whole thing as several different characters. And when they did the parade at Disneyland, they just basically recreated the scene. It was not like the other parades in the past where they just tried to tell the story with various scenes. In the Aladdin parade, they actually just replicated the scene from start to finish. And they had the character of the genie appear throughout the whole parade in different places. So it was kind of fun. So, always loved this song. It's my favorite from Aladdin. Ruthie, what's your favorite song from
My
Aladdin?
favorite song is also my favorite scene, Friend Like Me. Like I said before, just Genie introducing himself, talking about everything that he can do, everything that he can give Aladdin. The other thing that I really love about the Genie is how he can just change into anything. And I really love how they really incorporate that. That's part of why he matches so well with Robin Williams' vocal performance, because his performance is doing a whole bunch of stuff, and so they just make the Genie become that as well. And that's just the perfect marriage of like vocal performance and animation. I mean, that's why the Genie is the heart of this film, because just a couple of reasons. But in this scene, in this song, like I said, he's introducing himself, and you are basically witnessing the heart of this film coming to life, and that's why I love this song.
And Brian, what's your favorite song?
Well, my favorite song was right at the beginning. More of the instrumental part, movies are really made with the soundtrack to me. This music at the beginning with its
it kind of sounds like the music we're
right?
listening to right now.
Is it?
Well, listen. See? It's like that Arabian sound.
The Arabian,
music.
that's da 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 da.
Like snake charming music.
Yeah, it's great. I just love that. The song, of course, is good. I swear, did Tim Rice, was he the composer? Or Alan Menken? They both worked on it.
They both worked on this.
Yeah.
I think they got a lot of their themes from the Aladdin piece of music by a Norwegian composer named Carl Nielsen, who wrote an opera called Aladdin. And I don't know, it totally gets you in the mood for this like Arabian setting, and so I love it. And it's Robin Williams that's singing this opening song too, I think. Right? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's the singer.
It is him.
I know he's doing the voice of the merchant here.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he's the singer, but they don't. He's not credited.
Yeah.
And they deny. I think they even denied it. I think they even denied that it was him for a while, and
right.
I always saw it as he was actually the genie in a different
Right. That's what
form.
there was like a supposedly that could be the possibility that he's the peddler is the genie.
Yeah, that's what I suspected from the first time I saw it, because I recognized Robin Williams' voice immediately.
His voice.
Yeah. Not
the
in the
only
singing,
thing that would
but...
contradict that now is that after this film they do sequels and the genie is free, but he still looks like himself. He doesn't look like this guy. So
yeah, I don't go by the sequels. I don't think of them as canon.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, my second favorite song
Carl
is...
Nielsen, my bad. He was a Danish composer, and he wrote incidental music to a play called Aladdin. Not an opera, but it's still great. Great song.
My second favorite song is One Jump Ahead. It's because it's very Broadway-esque. I'm a fan of Broadway musicals. The classic Broadway musicals, not like Andrew Lloyd Webber, not like the more modern stuff. I like the classic, top hat and tail type musical type thing, like Music Man and Hello Dolly type stuff. So this reminds me of that, and just always like this song. I love how fast-paced it is, and just one gag after another. It's really funny. It really gets you into the mood for the whole film, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of the best gags, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Crazy
Ruthie.
Hakeem's discount fertilizer.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future.
I know. I always think of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Ruthie, what's your second favorite song?
My second favorite song is the Academy Award-winning song, A Whole New World. And I just think this is just a great song. This is a good scene, too. Just a good way of kind of explaining, like, how Jasmine and Aladdin kind of see their relationship, how it's blooming, but, like, how they're going to show each other, new things and experience new things together. And and the fact that they're going all around floating on this magic carpet to different countries and experiencing different things. And I just think it's a great song. It's one of Disney's great love songs. And
it's also how Kim Kardashian and Pete Williams?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
That's how they met. They met on the same carpet.
They did a skit on SNL when she hosted, yes,
yeah.
Where she played Jasmine, yes, and he played Aladdin. But
Or like birds
that was
are
a
flying in her
huge
face.
sidebar.
She gets pooped on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Oh boy. But one thing that I did kind of think when I was rewatching this film yesterday, they end and they're in China and they're sitting on top of like one of like a structure, a Chinese structure, and it reminds me a lot of Mulan. So I'm wondering if they kind of used
It's
that
all
same type
the same universe.
Yeah.
Did they fly over what's that city in Frozen?
Arendelle?
Did they fly over Arendelle?
I'm sure they did. So they're flying through different Disney movies here.
Yeah.
You don't even realize that they are. So
I even went to Peru. I think I saw Cuscotopia.
Yeah, there you go.
No, you saw Donald Duck on Lake Titicaca.
Yep.
Only Aladdin, well, he already had the pretty girl.
Yeah. So that's my second favorite song.
Yeah.
And Brian's second favorite song.
Oh, yeah. My last favorite song is, Chris told me that the title of this is Jafar's Hour.
Yes.
It's really a reprise on Prince Ali.
Yes.
But
that
I
is
love
also
this
true.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is just Jafar, getting even.
It's overly melodramatic,
Yeah.
and it's also the only song that Jafar has. He doesn't have his own song.
Yeah.
This sort of doubles as his song.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well talk about Jafar a little bit here. Like Jonathan Freeman.
Yep.
Wow. What a job. I mean, this whole scene with Jafar at the end here is just classic Jonathan Freeman. And Andreas Deja was the lead animator. It's just a fun song. I think this is the point in the film where Jasmine realizes that is this where she finally realizes this is where Aladdin is the guy from?
Yes, he tells her in the
street
lyrics.
market?
Yeah.
Yes, he tells her within the lyrics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Prince Ali is merely a lad.
Yep.
Read my
Blast from your
lips and
past.
come to grips with reality.
Yeah, right.
His personality flawed.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a fun take on the song, Chris's favorite song.
Yeah. I do want to talk about Jonathan Freeman real quick a little bit more, because he
Okay.
actually plays Jafar in the live action Broadway musical. Like, so he originated that
Oh,
character
really?
also, yes, in live action on Broadway.
Wow.
But I think that Jafar is just a really good classic villain. He's like one of my favorite villains because he is just evil. There is nothing good about him. He does not have a good bone in his body. He is all about just looking out for himself. He has his, his sidekick there in Iago, who is just as evil as him. And I didn't even really remember until rewatching it, but Iago is the one who comes up with the plan that for him to marry Jasmine.
Yeah, that's right. What if you were
Right.
the chump husband?
What? Yeah, and I mean, he's just so evil. Like, and I just think that this is he is exactly what a classic Disney villain is. Nothing good. And so I think they really did such a great job with him in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you? Sometimes I get Captain Hook vibes with.
Yeah, I could see
With
that.
When you
Jafar.
see him in the parks, he is one of the scariest walk-around characters. Because he's so tall, and he has such a mean face. Like,
Yep.
Captain Hook used to have a mean face like him, but now they gave him a weird-looking smiley face. But Jafar still has that scowl on his face. He's really creepy in the parks.
Yeah, I'm down with you, Ruthie. That's awesome. He's
Yeah.
just a great villain.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we've come to the end of another episode of Dateline Jiminy Crickets.
Wow. By Allah, we have.
And Ruthie, where can everybody find Jiminy Crickets on the web?
You can listen to all of our past shows, including audio versions of Dateline Jiminy Crickets, over on our website, jcricketspodcast.blogspot.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts under the name Jiminy Crickets, that's with an exclamation point. And be sure to leave us a 5-star review, which helps to promote the podcast. Over on our YouTube channel, we share updates to the Disney Chris website, including the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, as well as past episodes of the Jiminy Crickets podcast and Dateline Jiminy Crickets. You can find our channel if you search for DisneyChris.com, and remember, .com is spelled out DOTCOM. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell. If you'd like to contact the show with your comments or questions, our email address is DisneyChris.com@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
And Brian, where can everybody find us on social media?
We are all over social media. Check us out on Facebook. We have a group called Jiminy Crickets Podcast where you can interact with Chris, Ruthie, and me. I'll try to get a little bit more involved on that page. We love you guys, so make sure you post your comments to this video that we just did for you guys. We'd love to hear your feedback. We have an Instagram site, DisneyChris_JC_podcast, where I post lots of great Disneyland images and updates to Dateline Jiminy Crickets and our podcast, as well as Chris's Disneyland Magical Audio Tour. I'm also on Instagram, Keeping Walt in Disney, and you can look me up there. Chris is really the only one that's active on Twitter. He's under @DisneyChris73, and all of us have our own Facebook accounts. Chris Linden, that's Lyndon, as in Lyndon Johnson. Ruthie Brown and me are under our own names, so look us up on there and send us your questions and comments.
Ryan Crawford, as in Joan.
Yes.
Or Sandy, yeah.
Right. And if you would like to check out my website, that's DisneyChris.com. And over there you'll find over 3,000 tracks from the happiest place on earth at my Disneyland Magical Audio Tour. And I also post the song of the day every day of the year. And if you would like to help support us, again, go to patreon.com/DisneyChris. And for other donation options, just go to my website, disneychris.com/donate.html, and there you'll find out how to get to our store and how to make a PayPal donation. And PayPal monthly donators, recurring donations, are given the same rewards as Patreon subscribers. So thus ends another thrilling episode of Dateline Jiminy Crickets. I hope you all had a good time. Thank you again, Ruthie. Thank you again, Brian. Goodbye, everybody. And I just want to mention we have a new supporter that I didn't have time to update our closing credits, so I want to just give them a shout out, Dan and Stephanie Starr. And on the next Dateline, we will have your name on our closing credits. So here we go with the closing credits, and we'll see you real soon.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. M-I-C.
See you real soon.
K-E-Y.
Why? Because we like you.